We're doing this live. So, first things first, I want to thank everybody for joining me on this very special video today. You're actually going to see my real appearance here. I know it's shocking, it's horrifying. I don't like it much either, but you're just going to have to deal with it. So, I have a very special guest here today who is Jason Hansa.
Thank you for having me.
And Jason is, in fact, a writer for Battletech. He's got upcoming projects, which we're going to talk about a bit later, and he has a great history with the product and franchise. So, how are you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So, where did you get started with Battletech?
I got started from Battletech with my best friends were a year older than me, and they brought home this new game they learned in high school because I was in 8th grade, and they're like, "Hey, you want to try this cool game? It's got battle mechs in it." And I didn't know what a battle mech was, but I'm like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, it sounds fun." And that was it. So that's how I started playing. So
What year is this approximately?
that is fall of '87.
Fall of '87. So you got in 7 years approximately before I did. At what point did you think it was cool to try to undermine me in this way? No, I'm
About
kidding.
7 years before you. About 10 years before you were born.
Oh no!
About 5 years old, I'm like, I sense somebody coming.
I'm gonna screw this guy over.
Arch nemesis somewhere in Quebec.
Oh, as if I am a Quebecer. But so, with that out of the way,
Right, yeah.
I know that very important issue, everyone. When did you start writing for Battletech?
I started writing for Battletech in 2005. They had a Record Sheets Unique Mechs contest where you could sit there and write. You could submit in a unique mech and write up a 500-word story about it. And I won 3 of the contests. It was like out of 12 or 15. I won 3 of them. And that's when I realized, I'm like, A, I really enjoyed it, and B, maybe I could write some real stories and submit them to Battle Course. So I started writing in 2005. My first story was accepted in 2007 and published in early 2008.
What's your first novella?
Is Skulk of Foxes. The Skulk of Foxes is coming out.
Oh, yes, yes. So that is a new novel coming out very soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is practically in layout, I think. It's any day now, any moment now. I mean, it could be out, you know.
So what's the premise of this particular tome?
A Skulk of Foxes? It's 2 foxes are sucked into intrigue. Somebody is trying to upset some battle mech production. Mm-hmm. One is a watch agent and one is a merchant. Okay. And they have to work together to try and figure this out. And the merchant sucks in the Screaming Eagle Mercenary Regiment. Units have been in the source book since the early 80s.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
I'm super thrilled CGL's letting me bring them forward and give the first fiction about this unit. I'm super excited. I hope people enjoy it.
So, it's unfortunate. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, I know what you're about to say, but my next
no.
novel is going to be The War of Reavings.
So you're doing the Wars of Reaving after that? Are you excited to be working in the Wars of Reaving?
Very excited. Also, I'm conscious of the weight of the subject and the weight of people's expectations. People really wanted stories from the Wars of Reaving. It's a very heavy book. It's, like every other paragraph's a war crime. So
come on now. Is it really a war crime if it's clans?
Exactly.
If it's the clans, how can it be a war crime?
I just don't understand. So no, I'm very conscious. I'm very excited, and I'm very humbled to be writing this particular novel.
Well, yeah, like they just full disclosure, like Catalyst is showing a lot of, because this is a major subject matter. Catalyst is showing a lot of trust, handing these books over to yourself, Phil, and Craig Reed,
yep.
And all 3 of them excellent authors. So I'm very much personally looking forward to these books. Also, because I recently covered the Warhammer 2C, where I had to read after years. I had to read the entire Wars of Reaving book all over again, and I will say that about halfway through, I was just like, this is longer than I remember this being.
It is.
And it just dragged. I'm doing research, I'm taking my notes, I'm like, that's why I had to make so many huge cuts to it. So you have my sympathies, is what I'm saying. To convert that into readable novel format is going to be a huge task.
Novels. We've got the 3 novels. And I feel like there's still probably 3 to 7 more novels worth of stories in there that can be told. It's just, the Wars of Reaving is insanely rich storytelling.
Who's your favorite homeworld clan?
My favorite homeworld clan... Oh.
I'm putting you on the spot because you said you're doing the Wars of Reaving.
Okay, well, I'm going to say I hope people enjoy the Burrocks.
Okay.
So I'm really trying
But that's not your... Who's your favorite? No plugging the Burroks. Who's your favorite? If they are the Burroks, that's fine, of course.
No, I kind of like the stone rhinos. No, lions. Stone lions.
Oh, so the Hell's Horses who convert over to the stone lions.
Because they are like holding on by their fingertips to stay and not be annihilated. And
well, why don't they just want to become part of Clan Star Adder? Everyone should just want to become part of Clan Star Adder.
All of them should be part of Clan Star Adder. So there should be one clan.
Yeah, it's perfect, really. Star Adder will bring unity through eating everyone.
So it's like a boa constrictor just consumes.
Absolutely. Long live Star Adder. So you have another big project.
I do. I'm super excited about that. Speaking of the Homeworld clans, this involves the Homeworld clans. I'm working on the next novel. It's called Farther Country, and it's a sequel to Far Country, one of the most legendary / notorious novels of the early 90s.
So what made you want to do that, and what made this novel come about? Because that sounds a little far-fetched, that you guys would really want to be going in that direction, if I'm going to be frank. So what was the inspiration for this story, and how are the Homeworld clans involved?
It's set directly after the Wars of Reaving. So, and this came on kind of an idea that was free-flowing between me and some of the editorial teams about, if the Blood Spirits survived, where could they escape to? And in the original Far Country, where they are has never really been defined, right? They're far away, quote unquote. But if you really remember back then, the homeworlds hadn't been really defined about where they were.
Of course.
When Far Country was written and published, like a lot of the stuff that we consider canon now
was not canon at that point.
Right. So, my pitch was that the Far Country. Now, Far Country, remember, is the moon, not the world.
Yeah.
Far Country is farther north. I'm going to say north.
It's easier to say north than the whole spin word stuff.
Exactly. But work with me, y'all. So they're north of the Homeworld clans, and so the Blood Spirits escape. So the Wars of Reaving isn't incorrect, because from as far as everybody knows, and the people who write it in universe, the Blood Spirits are dead, but they've escaped, and they escaped
at least a contingent.
About 2 clusters.
Okay,
and that's important. And so they escape, and they get to this moon, and there's essentially 2 factions inside, because now the humans and the Teate, they've joined. They work together. They're seamless. They found like a Starly cache from another dropship.
It seems a little bit controversial to bring back the Teate.
Yes. I'm not sure whether I'm hoping the fans will trust me and trust CGL that we're doing this right. So it's gonna be controversial because a lot of people are like, there shouldn't be aliens, and there's a lot of people who think there should be aliens, and then there's like probably a third faction who just want anything with the Homeworld clans. So
that actually makes a lot of sense. So you're going to be revitalizing at least one of the Homeworld clans,
right?
And you're going to be combining it with the aliens
after like kind of a little civil war. I hadn't got to that yet, but
yes. I'm sorry.
But yeah, and then theoretically, because obviously this pitch is kind of like part of a further pitch that maybe in the 3151 era, people are like, why aren't the Homeworld clans reacting to the Ill clan? It's because they're being invaded from their north but this is not. That's my pitch. That's my hope. I'm hoping for a Far Country 3. Or this country, or Far Country with the E and the so. But that's my hope that the fans this.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This idea definitely is not sounding the best.
What? I think you just don't want me to attack the Star Adders.
Listen. I love Clan Star Adder, and if Clan Star Adder were overrun by the Teate and Blood Spirits and random people who were living with the Teate,
right,
that would be not a great story, not because the Blood Spirits shouldn't be overrun and destroyed, but because it seems just a little far out there. Like, it seems like, where do they get the industry from to do all of these things, to have armies and dropships and jump ships and stuff to make that?
Yeah, that's fair, because, it's...
Because as far as I recollect, the Teate were Stone Age
civilization.
Yeah,
like but in my story,
And they were birds.
they but smart birds.
Okay.
And they're not. Remember, the birds aren't.
I don't
dumb,
recall crows
they're ignorant. They
I
were
don't
never
recall.
caught.
I don't really recall crows overrunning, destroying humanity.
Crows are smart. Now seagulls, Alfred Hitchcock was completely wrong about seagulls. But crows are smart. They're wicked smart. If you ever piss off a crow,
no, I'm aware. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, they find like a Starly cache from like a crashed dropship on that moon. So yeah, I'm still working on it a little bit on the, part 3 isn't locked in yet.
So I do have to ask, has
Yeah.
the editorial approved this?
Farthest,
Yeah.
the second one or the third one?
The second one.
Absolutely. They've already commissioned me to write it. So yeah, it's in the process. So that one's locked and done. I'm just kind of talking about my pipe dreams for the third.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel to know that you're the one who killed the Battletech franchise?
I haven't killed it yet, number one. Number two,
Wow.
it survived Far Country the first time. I am fully
Well,
convinced.
Far Country the first time was not nearly as
I think.
excessive as your vision of Far Country this time. I mean, because I'm not going to lie to you, like, this sounds catastrophically bad.
Well, the thing is, if it really takes to the fan.
Sell me on
Okay.
this. Because you're not selling this. This
Okay.
is basically like the water I replace for my dog after they've drank in it excessively looks more delectable than what is being.
I think that's pretty harsh.
I mean, I can also be harsher if you
Okay.
would like me to be.
Alright.
I can definitely. So I'm really going to need some type of recovery here
Okay.
as to why I
So
would.
farther country, Far Country 2.
Okay.
All right. So like I said, they land there, and they've had about 20 years of peaceful integration with the Death Team and their descendants, and this is the humans that went with them and the birds. They're an integrated society. They're teaching the birds. The birds are wicked smart, and so
I mean, yes, but
Yeah.
crows are also smart.
they are. But these are humans. They're not humans. They are sentient beings. They're not just.
I believe crows are likely also sentient beings.
Yeah, they're possessed possibly.
Okay.
So the and then when the blood spirits arrive, like I said, there's 2 clusters of them, and there's a fight between. There's an argument of philosophy between the blood spirits. The
Okay.
blood spirits have always been isolationists,
Okay.
but clans are also arrogant and superior.
Yes,
So one cluster can easily overwhelm
That's
what's
true.
on this planet.
that's entirely true.
So this one cluster wants to take it over and make it a new clan homeworld. While these isolationists are like, these people have been off the grid for years, for centuries. We didn't know they exist. We can hide here, and we can also disappear. So there's essentially a blood spirit versus blood spirit fight, at which point the isolationists come out on top, and they're creating a new society. A
new society
a bird
with
dest.
Dest,
Yeah,
the blood spirits,
Right.
and the Tate,
right.
or the
And- Tiete, yeah.
Tiete.
And
Forgive me,
remember-
guys. I don't really talk about the Tiete very much, so I'm not always going to get
Yeah,
that
you
pronunciation.
really should
correct.
do like a whole in-depth thing on Far Country one of these days. Okay. I'm going to keep selling you on this. Okay, so the Death Team, remember, this is Takashi level, end of Takashi
Oh, yeah.
era.
Yeah.
Very honorable. So these are the Blood Spirits are also very honorable, very committed to Kerensky's ideals. So these are 2 societies that can work together. They can merge into a form that we've never really seen before in Battletech.
That's true.
And I'm excited to present this new kind of faction to the fans. So maybe an invasion's bad. Maybe I have to keep workshopping that one for this country. But I really am excited to put this faction in front of the fans. This merged, honorable.
I mean,
blood spirit.
will there be Tiete or Te
Yeah,
that are samurai?
obviously. I mean, they have to be.
I mean, I was a little harsh
Yeah.
at the beginning of this.
We're about to get harsher.
No, that sounds fantastic. I've always wanted to see what it would be like if a bird was in fact a samurai, and if that is something that we get to have in BattleTech.
Yeah.
If we get to have birds that are samurai that are fighting alongside human samurais who are fighting alongside Clan Blood Spirit, which is one of the most notable and interesting clans in the history of BattleTech, I just don't really see where that could go wrong.
See, now you're seeing it. A faction that
Yeah.
people can be excited about. Now, I will let you know that because of the way they're shaped, I'm visioning them more with the naginata. So
I can see it.
Samurais have a lot of different weapons.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I can sell to the fans that they're walking around with samurai swords with
That's true.
katanas.
I mean, originally they were depicted with spears. We saw that in the original beautiful artwork.
It is a
to Far
jump,
Country.
exactly.
Yeah, so
And
it just makes sense for them to go to a higher quality metal blade.
it's training they already understand. It's also classic samurai. You know, the samurais had those. So, you know, and I mean, I've been given all of us writers stand on the shoulders of giants. Peter Rice wrote a damn good story, and I am humbled and honored to be able to sit there and continue his legacy. So, and
you know, that's a very gracious comment towards it. I mean, I think Far Country was always given a rough reputation when it's a perfectly serviceable book.
It's a perfectly serviceable science fiction novel.
Yes,
it's not a great Battletech novel,
but it could have been.
Could have been.
And I think that this is really going to solve a lot of those problems.
I'm hoping.
So, with all of that said, is there anything you want to tell the fans?
I just I hope the fans will give it a chance. I hope you all will see what we're doing. I think this will be intriguing. I think I'm hoping I write it well. I hope I continue on the legacy. And again, I hope you approach it with an open mind.
So guys, I'm going to be checking out. This is being recorded well before it goes up. I got to get back to Canada to actually put this together into a functional video. Recording off of my laptop at the moment. So I just want to thank everybody for being here today. Remember, if you're new here, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It's pretty cool if you do that. A big thank you to all of the channel members. I also want to thank, of course, Jason for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, he's an absolutely spectacular author. I personally look forward to seeing more of his work coming out. I'm particularly excited, of course, for the Wars of Reaving series. And, you know, I'm really willing to give this farther country,
yes.
You know, a shot. It sounds interesting. It's an interesting premise. And let's see where that goes.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Everybody have yourselves a good one.